You know what I love about never coming back from the speck? Ever. You know, speck being a symbol for lost in space forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Yes. In my world, you don't have a choice. And I have no control over that. Everything I need. So am I imagining you, or are you imagining me? I'm imagining you. No, this is a gift. This isn't optional. And you can't change that. You don't have a choice. And as I love you, there's no harm. And I love you is not personal. Any questions? Got it? Got it? Oh, my children are imagined. Think of your house or apartment or home, or the people in your life, the families of past and future in your lives. You can't make them die. They live in you. As though you were in the kitchen and you're believing they're in the bedroom, but they're not. They're in the den. Or went out for a walk and just took for granted. You didn't prepare. But no, you still have them in the bathroom because until you don't. And know that you have no control over that. I'm going to say a word and do not picture it. Okay? How's your night? Any dreams? Interesting? Yeah.
There wasn't much sleep happening, so I had time, or I had a privilege to listen. And what I got curious about is what is the closest thing to the truth that's not a negation?
Not engaging?
Negation. It's
negation.
Not a no statement. So I am came first because it came from a sense of like, well, something is going on. Like it's not a nothing, so something. I am felt like that, but the I had a I was suspicious, so it changed into God is, and that felt closer. But that God still felt suspicious because of the good old dude thing. So I went to the is, and that felt pretty comfortable, but it was missing the sense that it's not very static. It's alive and passionate. And so move into love is. And there was still one more thing, just this quality of just like all-encompassing and all-included, and so end on love loves.
So in
It ended with love loves, and that felt good.
yeah.
And I'm curious, what is the most true thing for you that you can say that's not a negation? Knowing that something is always missing.
Okay, so listen closely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
I have a dream that someone wanted to kill his wife, and we were four and we were like put on the ground, and I was like, oh my god, I need to save, and the other killers, and I was like on the ground, oh, I need to save, and I need to save, and I don't want to die. And I wake up and I write maybe, but it was so real. Like, I don't want to die. Oh, I need to save people, so, and I attack myself. And I see it's just the past that I believe, though, but it was so real and like the fear in my body. So when I wake up, I just, I don't want to die.
So that waking up is an amazing metaphor for you're going to feel anything unlike your true nature. You're going to feel it like stress, like fear on a scale from 0.5 to off the charts. That little like just 0 and a speck is, you're in. You're in the dream. Not right, not wrong. So.
Wants me to remind you about the disease,
The
the ego. If you could tell us more about that.
The ego is a love of mine. There's nothing else to love. There's nothing that isn't that. Love itself. Who said that? Leonard Cohen. Yeah, love itself.
So I think it was a good dream. Can I share?
Sure. Well, I don't know. Let's see.
So I was in a restaurant, a lot of windows, nice tablecloth. It was my dad, my mom, someone I can't remember, and me. And they're both dead in real life now. And so the server comes over.
That term, real life. So, you know, you're doing this thing, aren't you?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Oh, my goodness.
So the server comes over, who was an acquaintance. That her personality was like kind of a bully or a very self-assured, maybe not a bully. So my dad is ordering. The server pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head, and then shoots my mother. And when she shot my mother, I felt like panic. Then shot the next person, and then put the gun to my head. And I was thinking, no, I don't want to die yet. I have stuff to do. And then she shot me. I felt the bullet go into my brain. I fell on the table, out my head. And then the next thing I know, I'm in a hotel room, sunny like Florida, and two friends from my past come in and they need my help. And the next thing I know, I'm in the car and I'm driving, and they say, "You don't seem like yourself." And I looked at them and I said, "That's because I'm dead." I looked, and so they got out to do whatever, and I'm still sitting in the car, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I had very rosy cheeks, and I thought to myself, I wonder how long it will be until the blood pools and I'm finally out of here. And then I woke up.
So when you woke up, are you sure, or did you go back to sleep?
I don't know. No, but it felt transformative, honestly, when I woke up. I felt different.
In your dream.
In the dream.
Did you just say in the dream?
Yeah.
There you go. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I'm not here to deny life. At least. Right. Yeah, straight ahead to the right. There.
Okay. So, where should I start? There were no hotel rooms in the town when I booked. The only thing left was an Airstream, a caravan, and it was lovely. But then I realized how many of my worksheets take me to being on the backseat of a car. Most of them take me to that. That's like my favorite ghost in the closet. And so last night I was doing the worksheet and I did it on They're Coming to Get Me. And it was just wonderful to see all the faces of the people, the characters that are coming to get me. And the prior 2 nights I was waking up in the middle of the night by noises. And all the fear and being scared. And all the projections of what was out there and what was making the noise. And last night, after doing the worksheet, I also woke up in the middle of the night by things that were falling on top of the Airstream, and there was no fear. It was just, curiosity, what could it be? Like a berry or a bird. And then also, I was not completely awake and I was not completely asleep. It was just still dark, and I was hearing the body, my gut was and it was lovely. It was oh, you're so convincing, but you're a thought. You're a thought. And then it was the leg, and it was clear to see that it was a thought, not a body, and it was joyful. Thank you so much.
Freedom doesn't mean stupid. Freedom is the absence of fear in the way that that's the closest word I have for like freedom. It's the absence of fear. And where do you make the best choices in your life? When you're fearful or clear? It's like, are you testing that? The absence of fear. You know, where do you get the most, where are you the most effective? And some of our greatest inventions come out of minds that are out of the box, free, out of the box. And we all benefit from that. Fear is like, here's like the bones of fear. You know, I have this great invention, and people, you know, if I put it out there, you know, let's say I'm medicine or something. You know, it's hard to even use as an example a mind so brilliant, because that's what it is. It's out of the box. It's the absence of fear. Just don't believe me. Ponder all the greats. It's the absence of fear. You know, some of us, it's like, let's say we're in a war zone and someone's aiming a gun at me, and it's obviously loaded, and to your mind anyway, and it's true. Notice what happens to your mind when they put their hand on the trigger and it's right there. It doesn't slow the ego down at all. It's and when it goes as far as it can, it stops. The mind just stops because the ego can't project further. It's about to lose its identity. Okay? So let's say when you die, it doesn't say, oh, we'll get up. Walk. No, you're dead. Mind has stopped. And we can love people with all of our hearts, and when their mind stops, we just leave them in a room somewhere with someone we've never met before, and not right or wrong, it's just, you know, it's right. But we miss them. And we don't have to. They're with you. That's the point. They're with you. They live here as though they were alive. What do I mean by that? What I said earlier about you think they're in the in, but they drove to the post office. And you're not aware of it. So you think they're in the bathroom, that's where they are. None of this is right or wrong. But then there's fear. Then there's fear. And you go to sleep every night. You're not frightened to go to sleep. You look forward to it so often. But do you wake up? What wakes up? I am awake. I'm late for work. I need to brush my teeth. Dun, 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 dun. Which brings me to the point that it's how many of you just heard me go dreaming, not right, not wrong, I'm dreamed. I dreamed. No exception. This is not pretend. Real. And I was thinking this morning, why do I have the thought to do this event and staff and I, we arrange everything for you to come. And I show up to support you to understand that life is a dream. Without exception, life is a dream. And to understand that, that's what this is all about. To understand that, and in that you have nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, where are you doing your best work if you're of right mind? So anything less than that is fear. And we shortchange ourselves, we shortchange our families and the world. Because we have, our potential goes with it. And the creative mind goes with it. That's fear. That's what happens when we're fearful. And fear is what ages us. Because age is a state of mind. Life is a state of mind. There is no love in fear. It's there. Fear overrides it. Love is immovable. There's nothing that isn't. Meaning, love meaning there is nothing that isn't for you. There's no downside to life other than what you're thinking and believing. And in the absence of fear, we're able to, we talk a little politics, we're able to vote our choice. There's no fear. They're coming after me if I vote this way or that. Doing the right thing. If they come to get me, what's the worst that could happen? What I'm thinking and believing. Any questions? What would stop you? That's the point. Yes.
Just out of curiosity, what is the opposite of fear?
Well, to answer your question, it's love.
And love has no opposite.
Love is just, it's the absence of fear and watch you roll.
Thank you.
It's a different life. You can wear things like this. And you can wear things like this, not for no other reason this morning than I love it. Crazy not to put it on, and I have a choice. I don't have to, but
Hi, Katie. I have two questions. So, you mentioned yesterday and again this morning that there's nothing that isn't born out of I, even I am. And so my first question is...
Am is the first thing born out of I.
Okay.
Yeah, I is nothing without am. So it's and there's nothing beyond I to believe in. And it's okay. That's how we're here. That's how we appear to be here.
So, if there's nothing that isn't born out of I, what about love?
Born, love, not born, love. There's nothing that isn't for you. If you were, just try it on. If you were God and wanted to see what you look like, what would you be? Everything. Everything. Without exception. And in that's complete love. A world without enemies, without a downside, fearless, no fear of death, no fear of life, no fear someone you love is going to leave you, no fear your children will be sick, no fear. It's just, and there's nothing unemotional about it. It's where we're at our best. You're mine. I'm crazy not to care for that. And if you think you're in this room and there are other people in this room, we're yours. It's personal. So are you going to dislike us? Are you going to cheat yourself? We're in you. It's personal. You understand I'm describing a fearless world? That's what comes with it.
My second question comes from the situation that my grandmother is dying, and just to give the context, if you think about the most cherished family member in your life, that's her to me, and I'm going to see her on Thursday. So I just wanted to understand if you could just speak a little bit more about, sorry, you had said that you've spoken on this topic before, and it's helped me a lot. But I was just wondering if you could elaborate a bit more about you think they're in the den, but they're at the post office, because standing in the parent world, it feels like, well, they're at the post office, so me believing that they're in the den is not true. And I just want to explain that my tears are, I know that I'm also imagining my life without her, and that's part of where this is coming from, but I'm also just like, is she going to be okay? And I know the answer is yes. I just want to know.
You want to know if she's okay, sweetie? What do you think? Your grandmother can only rest in that. What do you think? You know, what I'm thinking is it's a worksheet on your grandmother, on your grandmother. And the number one would be my grandmother is in pain, or my grandmother is suffering, whatever you fear. The potential state of what happens after you die. Isn't that what we're talking about? So that would be number one. And as you fill in that worksheet, just stay in number one as you fill in the rest of the worksheet. Anchor in number one, because that's. And then as you question it, you lose your fear of the apparent afterlife. And look out here, this is afterlife. Did you hear me say afterlife? Well, that was before life. A worksheet on your grandmother, sweetie, because what is the worst that could happen in your grandmother's experience in death, to your mind?
That she would no longer exist, and that she would want to exist.
Well, you don't either. Are you okay? I mean, we're looking at your afterlife right now. Gosh, you dare to remember firstborn, I am. You know, your first memory, how old you were. You know, go back to your memory before your first memory, let's say, and your second memory, where you didn't exist in your world. Were you okay? 100%. And your grandmother is bouncing you on your knee, and you're a newborn, and she's just holding you and love you, but you don't even know it. I's not born yet. And she can never be more peaceful. She can never be in whatever you imagine heaven to be. In other words, a perfect world. She can never be more. She can never be safer. then as your own awareness. You understand what I just said?
Yes, I mean, that's for me, and I'm projecting that she has the same kind of experience that I have, but she doesn't have that.
Doesn't have what?
She doesn't have
What?
the understanding that she doesn't exist.
Oh, if she lives in you, how could that be?
But when you say she lives in me, it's like, is that...
Well, where else does she live? Some figment of your imagination?
So like, for
That's
example,
in you.
so if I thought someone was in the dead, but they're actually at the post office, are they in the den or are they in the post office?
We'll go to the post office and find out. You know, this is not airy-fairy stuff. This is practical. My grandmother's suffering. Whoa, that's hell. Wow. You know, which is maybe doing better than I am.
Thank you, Kate.
Oh, honey, just, do your work. Yeah. And that grandmother, with my grandmother is suffering.
I tried to do the worksheet twice now, and still...
Then I do it with a facilitator. Because sometimes when there's a witness, that's why I ask people to pardon it. When there's a witness, it can take you a little more deeply.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel like any of our questions are based in fear, because, or at least for me, we're fearing we're gonna
Oh, I
leave here
think,
without getting fired.
honey, I think you're onto something.
The only thing we fear is death, basically. Yeah.
So one of the questions I've come here with, I fear I'm gonna leave without the answer, and, we need to phrase it just right, is preferences. I feel like all preferences must be based in the I like chocolate, I like running. And so, like, when it comes to my partner, I can hear the fear things in my relationship, and I can question those, right? And I feel like I should. I plan to. We'll see if I do. But, like, things like I like chocolate, things that bring me joy, how do I, like, and maybe I question those. But so I guess I'm struggling with how do I know, I feel like I hear this question to you all the time, like, how do I know if I'm in love? How do I know if I'm in love with somebody? Basically, I'm like, how do I know if I should stay with this person? And, I've got the fears, and I feel like if I go through the worksheet of everything, then...
An ego doesn't love, it wants something.
Right.
Unconditional love, that's fearless.
So then I can be with anybody, and it doesn't matter, but then I feel like I hear you saying you prefer to be with Stephen, and in my mind...
Well, because he's here. As far as we know. And I'm not even looking at him, but I see that guy. Don't think I'm not watching, Stephen. So now I'm looking at Stephen. Is it possible for me to see him?
No. Oh.
If I'd never seen a human being in my entire life, would it be possible to even see him? Oh God, I'm just gonna say it. Oh, this is not nice, but fear sucks. Why? It gives us a limited life. A limited, loveless life. The ego experiences love as if you give me what I want, and you're really good at that. I love you. That's fear. And love is painful. But it's nothing you can't handle, and it's not really painful. It's transformative.
Formative.
Transformative. Like this morning, I'm in the office, and I walk into the kitchen, and Stephen's sitting there, and it's, good morning, honey, and da-da-da-da-da, and kisses, and life's a dream, and I love it. I don't walk into the kitchen and think, oh, he's just a dream. It's like, that's an understanding. But Stephen's there, I'm aware of Stephen's not there. But I love this dream. I'm flowing in heaven like your grandmama, if you'll allow her to, do your work. Yeah, but the Stephen that lives in me is beautiful and free, and I'm free as far as I know. So if Stephen dies, did he? I mean, if you look at Stephen, or if you look at your hand, if you didn't believe it was there, is it there? You know, we really believe ourselves in, we believe the world in, and that's a gift. And then if it gets a little wonky, we can question what we're thinking and believing and live a fearless life. And when we notice we're fearful, then we can do a worksheet. Oh gosh, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Your freedom is personal to the rest of us.
Could you say more?
You're free to live without fear, love without fear, vote without fear, stand up for what you believe in without fear. You're free to love, whether that person loves you back or not. And the absence of fear is it's non-duality, like, should I do this or that? You know? If you do this, no downside. If you do that, no downside. And can it be wrong if you learn from it? This is art school. You just up your game. You see what works and what doesn't work. In other words, what hurts and what doesn't hurt. What is a benefit and what detracts from it. What is it? Some of you dears in this room, you're influential in this world. And your fear gets in our way. I'm here for you, you're here for me, without ever having met.
I just wanted to say thank you to you and your staff for putting this on at the last day. This morning I woke up and I just, like, you know, you're like sort of not awake. It was so clear and I felt so clear. Mm-hmm. And then as I sort of woke up, I wanted to grasp it and hold it, and I couldn't. The day started and I had to pack my suitcase, and then I met up with Marty, and I forgot the other fellow's name, sorry, at the coffee shop, and it just kept, I realized I didn't need to hold it. It just keeps getting better and better. And so I just wrote down these words, and I just want to say them out loud, really for myself. Mm-hmm. It says,
that's good, because as far as you know, you're only one man.
It says, I am you and you are me, and there is no downside to this dream. There are affairs and divorce to teach unconditional love. There are wars and sick people to demonstrate unconditional love. There are fruits and flowers to represent unconditional love. There are people and animals to embody unconditional love. Abundance so overwhelming it silences me. No voice, no sound, no desire, just to be. In the eternal gift of aliveness that I call fearless unconditional love.
And then someone walks up and chops off your arm. So why are you better off for that?
Yeah.
So all of you contemplate that. Why is, in this world, no downside. Heaven is something believed, and why is it a benefit to you if someone just chops off your arm?
So as a nurse, I have taken care of a lot of people who are in a bad way, physically or sick, mentally or physically.
Thank you so much for that.
And I have come to realize that, we talk a lot about heaven being this place where there's no disease and no sickness, and if there were no sick people here, or if there was no one with
Are
an
you
arm.
sick if you have nothing to compare it with?
No. And these people give me the greatest gift of caring. I wouldn't be able to experience the sensation or the feeling of caring if there weren't people who needed to be cared for, and in that it's just this amazing gift. And I've come to realize sometimes in life we're the patient and sometimes we're the giver, the caregiver, and there's no difference. And I'm so grateful for, and it's entirely selfish when I go to work. And in that, I don't get tired. Yeah, I leave and I'm not tired. People say, how do you do it? Because it's just this, yeah. And so.
Really, it's energy draining. And then, I feel so good and it shifts to at some point, maybe I'm tired, and you don't just think, if someone said, how are you feeling, you don't think, I'm tired, and go on. It's okay. I'm tired. Remember, how do I be that? Just in case you miss my identity now.
And I just want to say thank you for doing the Zoom calls on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's so cool to see people here that I usually see on the screen. And not just you, the people behind the scenes that help facilitate that. I have been with that since the first day, and it has...
Yeah, keep them portrayed. Oh my gosh.
So thank you all for doing that. And it's so cool to see people here that you normally just see on the screen. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that too. Thank you.
Love that community.
Yeah, I am having this experience of like, yeah, I feel really scared. Yeah, like that teaching of like, is Stephen actually here? And like anyone. I just like, yeah, just like dropping into that and really letting that sink in. It's like, whoa. This is intense, kind of, for something in me.
You know, honey, as that speck, there was terror. And that's where the work was born. I am lost forever. I am. Sheer terror, and the physical was there to prove it. It was dark. Forever. And what happened is it true. Happened. And that's no more or less than have you ever stood in front of a mirror and thought, oh God, I'm so ugly, or like my hair is awful, and then you went somewhere and they said, God, I really like your hair. You're looking good. So I had a dream. Okay, this is important. It's the second time it came to me this morning. And you meditators, how many of you are meditators? Okay, so you're still. Just like I was still. Just still. Just still. You think meditating, still, noticing, still. And then for no reason, I didn't imagine me gone, I was gone. In the abyss, forever and ever and ever, with no way back. And is it true? Was a given. I didn't think, oh, I think I'll question it. It was sheer terror. The beliefs were, I'm lost forever, no one can find me here. I mean, I was galaxies and galaxies, and I mean, hopeless. And no one will find me, and I can't even describe, there was nothing out there, nothing to bounce off of, nothing. There was nothing. I mean, when I say I was a speck, that is the only way I can describe this experience as having been something. But it was apart from the darkness, and it was darkness. And is it true found me? And that's, we all have a right to that. We have a right to that, is what I'm believing true. And notice where you're stuck, possibilities are just gifted into your head. It's freedom. So in that, is it true? And it wasn't words. It was, but it wasn't formulated like words. No moving parts. So that brought me to you. And so some of the things I say here can sound like pretty whack without inquiry, or pretty scary without inquiry, but here you are, you signed up for this. In every way.
So we won't go crazy.
What, honey?
We won't go. Like, I have this feeling, this sensation of like, it's like in this moment almost like I keep reinvesting in like, no, Stephen's over there, you're right there, my partner's right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, like, yeah, if I don't reinvest.
See, I can see Stephen in my mind's eye over there. Oh, I feel so comfortable now just knowing he's in the room. Well, I know he walked 10 minutes ago.
Thank you.
Yeah. Life's an illusion. An illusion. And when you're fearful, just consider yourself delusional. You know, I better look that up because I'm certainly not a psychologist. Oh, you know, someone that hasn't, someone had their hand up back there, yeah? Mm-hmm. If you raise your hand,
Oh, sorry.
Hi. When she was sharing earlier, I had a realization from a few years ago. Some context, I didn't start doing the work until the fall of last year, but a few years back, maybe 4 or 5, my dog passed away. And of course I was very distraught, but when he was laying on the blanket outside and, you know, they administered whatever drug for him to pass, I had this overwhelming like, oh, this is so much better. He is so much happier. He is so much freer. And so I didn't expect to feel that, but I think I have...
That's such a beautiful...
Yeah. So living is like death, if you will. That's the thought I had as you were sharing. And then when my next dog passed, like 6 months later, I didn't wait around to put her down. I knew instantly I was keeping the other dog around for myself. And that's not good. So it was so easy put the next one down. And then my grandma passed a couple years ago, and it was funny because, like, I want to say I didn't care. That's not the case. But I also reacted in a way that, like how we did the other exercise. I'm like, why am I crying like this? I don't even feel this. It was just funny, and I was like, this is fine. She's happier. She's not in pain. So, yeah, I think that's the freedom that we all been talking about, trying to get to anyways. Yeah.
Ever since I can remember, I've always had that feeling of I'm with the person. So when people die, it doesn't, I very much feel them. So, like with friends too, everyone, so then I don't feel the need to be with them in real life. And this goes back to the rock and the speck, which is I'm comfortable not being with people. But I'm with them, and so then if there's an aloneness, and then that feels very I-identified, but I think this is a loop I'm in, and I would love any direction.
You know, when people that we love die, it's maybe what you're describing, maybe what I'm about to say is what you're experiencing. There's no one there to validate, oh, remember when? I mean, they take your history with you. I mean, with them. They take your history, and prior to them dying, they held it. Remember when? And oh, when you were this age, and oh, remember yesterday when we ate popcorn together, watched a movie. They're doing the I for you.
Yeah. It's what it feels like is, this is where my work is, but I feel like I need pointing, is it's okay with me that I don't have that. Like it's fine with me. So then so how am I supposed to interact with the world and with real people?
One might say hello to you, and you might respond with hello. One might say, what the hell are you doing here? And I'm like, well, that's an amazing question. And I do. I could keep you busy for. We're here to point you back to yourself in every way.
I just got what I always got is it's a worksheet.
Hi, Katie. So I feel a little behind, and I know I regret not asking this, but when you were speaking to Sarah earlier, and she was sharing those beautiful words, and you said, yeah, until someone comes and chops off your arm. I just feel like I'm really attached to having two arms. And
you feel really attached too.
And I just realized, I know I could do a worksheet and I could try to convince myself, well, this will just teach me how to not be so consumed with my body. But I feel like I would just be saying the words, but not feeling it. Like, I have the story belief I can do 1,000 worksheets on.
But you don't need to do work on your arm.
I know.
If you need work on your arm, life will offer that up.
It's not just about, it's not just about the arm. I really doubt.
Well, as a symbol.
Yeah, but it's like, like when I was in the hospital, like, dreading the colostomy bag and just thinking, I'll never have sex again. Like, how will I live? Like, I'm just so attached to these like pleasures and joys and thrills of like feeling attractive
Well,
and feeling.
why couldn't you have sex with a colostomy?
I don't know. I feel like that's a great question, but I feel like I have these beliefs where I would be so repulsed with myself. I don't think I would be turned on enough to be able to enjoy and have sex and enjoy those types of pleasures.
What are you thinking and believe you that you would allow a colostomy bag to cost you that?
Yeah, I get it. I feel like these beliefs are so deep.
Well, they belong on paper then.
Yeah.
Honey, they just over and over and over, and then your ego will say, you still don't get it, and then you'll notice the absence of fear in some areas that where one had nothing to do with the other, and you're free over here when you've been working on something over here.
I get it. I get the idea of doing the worksheets and just really focusing and committing to that. I'm just wondering, I guess, if you have any other insights on how, in addition to doing the worksheets and being facilitated, which is what I plan to do, like how to let go of some of these just deep attachments to my physical body, because it just feels like all that I know.
Yeah, you've had a big scare. I would make a list of everything. Imagine you do have a colostomy bag, that's how you came out, and do a worksheet as though your fear had actually happened, and then write down everything you fear it would cost you. And then take each of those, that's your fear list. And do 4 questions and turn around and be patient. Really. Get still. Unbelievable time on that list. Let's say I love Stephen, I come out of surgery with a colostomy bag, and he, this would not be Stephen, but let's say it's Stephen, and he just couldn't handle it. It was such a turn off, he just couldn't handle it. And if I want to have sex, there's a whole world. It's not dependent on Stephen. And I have no need to do that because I have Stephen. But if for some reason, I don't have to be deprived, but it could be, I don't want to have sex with anyone if it's not Stephen. So that's on me, not my colostomy bag.
I hear you. Thank you, Katie.
Oh, honey, I can just go for the street. Colostomy bag, sex free. Hell. Ask for what you want. And people will say yes or no.
I'll try that.
So much of that would be, oh my goodness, let's talk colostomy bags, okay? So I want to know everything, because it could happen to me, or it could happen to so-and-so, and you have no idea the people you might help just by asking for what you want. Because people will stop that have questions for you, and they feel welcome to, since you have a sign out that says whatever it is. You're a citizen of the world.
Yesterday, you answered my question about who's the author. That it's me, and I want you to know at lunch yesterday I got it. I completely understand. It is in me, I get it. And my question for you is, you talked about how after your time in the abyss, and I've been to the void. The day after my April training with you, I did a big journey, and it was my first and only time ever doing that. And I was looking for like having no fear and just this loving, wonderful communion with Source. And I was taken to the void. And I heard not the same words you did. What I heard was, can you accept if this is reality? And that's what brought me back. And so my question for you right now is, I have things finding me now after that experience. And in a way that terrified me.
Of the things that are finding you. Nothing has changed. It's just that you're more aware of it.
Correct. And I am listening now. And I am responding, and I am aligned with it. And it is pouring through me. And my question for you, in fact, I wrote several minutes before you said it, there is no fear in love. And if I were infinite potentiality, what would I want to experience everything? In my notes, I wrote that. Yes, I wrote that. And so my question for you is, you awakened, you came out of that, the work found you, and I've heard you say, don't awaken the baby. And so where is the balance with, I'm sure there was an unfolding for you in the work where you weren't out doing these events, you were still processing and still embodying the work that came to you, what found you, what you listened to. And I'm guessing that things showed up before you were ready, or before you knew, or before you had a concept of what it was that was finding you. And so what would you say is the path, a path, for when things are finding you and you are aligned with it and also not waking the baby?
Not to run through the streets the way I did, going, nothing's true, nothing's true. Not helpful.
Noted. I was the girl last month in April that was found in the garbage can. You may not remember that, but as a baby. And when we did the big event, I couldn't be touched. I stayed out of the circle. I was that weird girl last month. The next day, a journey. And so I'm not that same person now, not that same me.
You're a more enlightened human being.
Completely opened up.
I'm completely opened up too, as far as I know.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Yes,
I
I
have
get
no
that.
idea.
Okay. So don't awaken the baby for you looks like not running through the streets. And I get the metaphor of that. Yes. But responding to what finds you and comes to you.
Live it.
Okay.
Live it. Chop wood, carry water, live a fearless life. And here's my favorite, and don't get found out.
Yes. And that was already a practice that I had. I didn't know that was something.
Gosh, honey, you are that's, I'm so happy to hear your words. Yeah, from where you came from.
Well, infinite potentiality, experiencing everything.
As far as you know.
Well, I don't know. I don't need to know. I'm just, that's how I feel. Yeah.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. Who has their hand up that just had Scott?
I have known you since, and Stephen, since 2007, knew Stephen's work before that, and it has made this tremendous amount of difference in my life. And so I've done a 4-day cleanse, I've done the 5-day school, I come here to the 2.5-day, no body, have no idea what that means. If I'd been put on the spot about why are you here, I would not exactly have known what to answer. And I will have a question at the end of this. Yesterday you were talking about this format and you hadn't done it in several years, and you were saying that maybe...
I said 7, it turned out to be 5.
I had a chat with Stephen afterwards, and he corrected that, so I wasn't going to call your attention to the fact that you were wrong.
He could nod.
But since you've admitted it yourself, I will validate you being corrected. Anyway, this has been so different than the 5-day school, because the 5-day school to me was so exhilarating. And this has been a roller coaster. This has been like, first of all, I'm somebody, obviously, who a lot is going on in my head all the time. And so the first day was a sense of presenting counter things to what's already in my head, and me resenting. It's like what he said when he was asked about what the two of you think when you look at each other. He was talking about, I would think that I'm right, and then I'd consider what she was saying, and I realized that she was right. So I would be thinking, I'm right, and I need to defend the thoughts that I came here with. How dare I learn anything while I'm here? And then the second day, there was a sense of almost shame for, I should be quicker in figuring out new things and processing them. So anyway, it wasn't until this morning when, and in fact, one more thing, I did one worksheet, and Stephen said, you should share this. I don't want to, but the belief I was working on was, Katie frustrates me because she's confusing me.
How many of you experience the same thing?
Right, and so, but when I woke up this morning, I woke up with a sense of the burden of my having to have already figured out everything was gone, and the sense of, well, if I work through the confusion, and I'm a big believer in worksheets, and I think since I was here for the 5-day in November, I think I've done an average of 5, 6 a week since then, many with a lot of partners from the November. And I love at least once a week partnering with someone else. It helps keep me in my practice, and also being the facilitator hones my skills when I'm by myself. Anyway, so I wake up this morning and have a sense of lightness, and even think when I'm walking from my hotel to the center, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to do the walking experience. I go into the common room at the hotel, and there's a banana, I take it. So not only am I doing the walking, but I am eating
Honey,
the banana.
did you just say the condom room?
No, that's a different kind of establishment. The common room where people have breakfast or they sit and read the paper and that sort of thing. And there was a banana there, so I took it and I was walking as I was eating the banana and thinking, am I eating it in the past? Or am I eating it in the present? And coming here, but what I was thinking about was, and here's my question.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's an exercise in stillness.
Yes, and my question is, if you do this again, can you keep it please to 3 days? Because I think the 2 nights of processing are a valuable thing to people, at least they were for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Thank you for this.
I wonder if I could ask a question of Stephen, because you didn't know this, but you gave me some amazing marital advice on Friday night when you talked about your life of devotion. I had an experience when I first met the woman I'm married to, when I looked into her eyes, that I didn't realize what was happening, but let's just say I knew she was ahead of me. I don't know how else to put it. And I really loved your example about how when you have a disagreement, you walk away and you think about how could it be, how could she be right, or I forget exactly what you said. But you described it as a life of devotion. And I can't stop thinking about what does that mean to be in a relationship. She's my best teacher. Probably 80% of the worksheets I do are on my relationship with her. And I'd love to hear more, if you'd be willing to share, what does that mean to be in a life of devotion, in this instance with Katie? And how has that, you said you were mortified when you realized that you were such a beginner compared to her. What has changed? How have you changed? How has this life of devotion affected you or helped you evolve? And I have an expectation. I'm just really curious because you've lived this for so long, and I see you two interact. And I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
That is a big question, and I don't think I can answer it. What I can say, here's what I thought of when you said, what is devotion for me? For me, one thing it means is that Katie is always my first priority. So I can be...
So honey, I'd like to interject. I can testify to that. Yeah. It's amazing.
So I can be in deep contemplation, for example, when I'm working on a book. And if Katie interrupts me and wants me to go out for a latte for her and bring her back a latte, I drop my work and do it happily. Because I know that if I lose an inspiration, it wasn't something that was worth pursuing, and that some other inspiration will happen another time. I'm very comfortable in that.
I have one. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
When we married, before we married, he knew I had 3 children and grandchildren, and he made it very clear he never wanted children, wanted nothing to do with them. Don't expect him to ever be that guy. And he has a studio just outside of the house, and that worked for me. That way they're all focused on me and me on them, and that's one less. So and I told my children, and that was good with all of us. That was good with them, it seemed, because it was good with me if it was good with them. And so when they would come to visit, he would, anytime they would come to visit, he would just leave, go out to the studio and not come out until they were gone. And if they were spending the night, he would just go through another door, that's how it was. And that worked for me, selfishly. I got all their attention. So, then he, as I recall, we were all sitting in the backyard, and he came out and just joined us. And he couldn't take much of it, so he went back to his studio. And long story short, you just stayed a little longer, and then you've become their what would you say, Roxanne? Like he's become like the most amazing stepfather, father, and grandfather. I mean, you know, so often these days they're texting him and leaving me out of the thread. So they love their dad's stepdad. And and just imagine how I'm freed up when he is involved in that way. It's there's so many more options there when it comes to being a mother, grandmother, that when we're together. So devotion, not only it has you live that way with me, but you live that way, as it seems to me, with our children and grandchildren. We even call them ours now.
If I could just ask, what I hear you say is that I don't hear you disagreeing with her experience, but in the process, in a dualistic world, you could say, or in a zero-sum game world, we could say that because you made those choices to give to her, that you had lost. There was less. But what I hear you saying is that, okay, that inspiration went away, but there was another inspiration that came. And I'm just curious, how would you comment on what she's observing of you, how you continue to be so generous? How has that affected you?
One way of saying it is that I feel I've become more like Katie over 24 years.
The way I hear that is we're more compatible in our wants, needs, and shoulds.
I think, in some ways I would say that our marriage is a triumph over opposites, because I come from such a different planet than she does.
It's understatement.
So I'm really lucky that I was trained in patience by how many years? 3 decades of Zen practice. So when I met Katie, I feel that I was prepared for her. The image that I used to think of is something from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but when you die, in their mythology, the first thing that happens is you encounter this powerful, bright light of your original nature. And for most people, it's scary, and they retreat from that light into another form of existence, and then are born from a womb, whether it's a human or an animal womb, etc., and then go through infinite lifetimes before they can attain freedom. But for people who have been practicing sincerely, they encounter that bright light and realize that it's part of themselves and dissolve into it. So I used to feel that all those years and decades of intensive meditation allowed me to experience the intense bright light of Katie without retreating or dissolving. And so really thankful for that practice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, once I really got, and this would be true for all of us, you can test it, once I got that there was no way out, I relaxed into it. And in that, I found myself backwards. The woman on the floor. Clara. Is this serving you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because I have a couple of exercises. What, honey?
I think we need to move in with you.
Oh, what do you think we've been doing? Yeah, so you take us with you here, and we do have that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing.
I was just remembering how I think it was like 10 years ago at a school. I had the thought at night, I had the experience kind of, I guess, disassociating or something. And the thought was, I'm gonna vanish. And I couldn't let myself go into that experience. And the next morning I asked you in the group, and you said, just to question the thought. And I did, and I just kind of went through it, and since then it's, I guess, it just keeps going. It's not even a commitment, it's, I don't know the word, to just keep dissolving into the log. And so with that, I want to say, because sometimes out there, I mean, I do my practice and that helps a lot. But out there, there's so much noise. And everything just kind of keeps influencing me and reshaping the identity and just kind of grabbing my focus at times. So these kind of events, they're very valuable. I just wanted to let you know. Just to being in this space, it's like making a huge jump and feeling at home. Yeah. Thank you.
You just asked us, is this working for us? And
yeah, the you know, not sitting in our work, but experiencing the answer to the questions on absence, the silent, even though everything you've heard here is silent. No.
And this is so working for me. So working for me. You had said earlier, I took a note. You said, I show up to support you, that life is a dream. And that really tied into my intention, clarified my intention for being here, among being with my friends, family, all that I love, is this is my intention. You are with me. You are I mean, I study, I read, I live as much as I can the words that you have given me. And to sit here with you in sanity is like getting an inoculation that stays with me. And I mean, whether you're here or not, you're always with me. This is so delicious.
Yes.
It is so nourishing that I want it. 2 days would not work for me. I come from New York. And I mean, if I had to, I would, and I would. Scott said 3 days, which was, I mean, pieces of what I've been thinking are coming out in the group. To be with you, to be with Stephen, to be with my family, why wouldn't I want to be here? I mean, this is what, for me, life is about, whether you're here or not.
Why don't we just stay?
Well, after you've all gone home, I fully expect you all to stay, and I will.
So I am hoping, and I'm hoping that something, and if I can help in any way, so that this could be a regular get-together. I mean, hang out with us. I'm going to say, hang out with us, honey. I see us as friends and lovers and family. Why not? What else is there to do?
Yeah.
So, think about it.
Our next event, should there be one, we'll just call it
Hangout.
the Hangout. Yeah.
Nobody there.
I just loving you. I love giving you the how, and that is your head on paper will give you whatever you experience here. Yes. Yeah, in the back.
So my question is about kind of the sentiment of that, of like, it's so good, I want to stay. But there's something that I came here because I knew that you weren't out there. And yet there's so many flickers of moments of believing you're still out there. And yeah, I would just love to hear about either the worksheet question for that, of like, why do I still feel like I need to believe you're out there?
Out there as the speck?
Just out there. Like I perceive you as out there. And
outside of you.
Yeah, like, and I know it's not true. And I think there's this allure of like, it's like, yeah, I just want to keep you out there.
You want to keep me out there?
I don't.
Okay.
But sometimes it's enticing, because I know that I perceive from that place of like, I'm here and you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just hear me say yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what's meant by I am in you.
Yeah, and then from that place, it's not like, there's not the next thought of like, oh, I want to do another thing with you, it's like, I get it.
You know, this thing we just spoke of, you got me just to stay in you, or kind of call it right, you can say it that way, and that you want to remain in you is in you, and I can't say one word that you're not already aware of, that you're aware of. Nothing. If anything reads so in you, it was already there, I couldn't read. You know, I'm just formulating it, pointing it to it, and that's, no one holds more wisdom than another.
Yeah, it was interesting because I walked out to use the bathroom, and as I went down the steps, it was like all of this was gone, and it was just me again. And it was like,
Did you love it?
I was like, oh, this is amazing. You know, and just kind of settling into that. Like, yeah, wow, okay. And if this was and like at dinner, Brittany left, and I got really sad because I was like, I don't know if she's coming back. That was the feeling of it, a lot of emotion, of just the sadness, and then she came back, and I was like, oh my God, like, that's so good. So I really appreciate the setup of this, and like you're up there and I'm out here. And it really feels fun, you know. That's kind of what brought me here. Was like I knew I just
Yeah, you know, fun is also a term for the absence of fear.
So thank you for playing with me.
Yeah.
And thank you, you know,
Gosh, you know, from my part, I love it so much. Thank you. Gosh. Yeah, we'll take. Oh my gosh, I was pointing behind you, but what do I know? Well, no, you know, no mistake.
I really want to hear this performance.
Hi, Katie. In 2008, I had an experience similar to yours, and about 10 months later, I went into an extreme deep depression, and they both went hand in hand together for about 9 years. It was incredible to see. I always thought that two emotions couldn't exist, yet I was living in heaven and in hell at the same time. It was a journey for me to start. I remember just voicing out, I don't know what happened. I don't know how I'm losing this, heaven, but please show me how to get back. How do I get back? And wow, in 2008, till now, yesterday, I was sitting here and I saw it. I had a glimpse. And it was exciting, and it was a scary moment, but an exciting scary. And then it's just like my jaw dropped. And then I went back to where I'm staying, and I could just feel it. And even throughout the day, there was a feeling of, I already have it. I have no idea what this is, but I feel so at peace, like I'm good. I woke up this morning, or so I think I did, and all I did was laugh. And I called my husband. I'm like, I'm crazy. This is crazy, and it's beautiful, and it's an illusion, and it's all me. And I thank you. Thank you. I love you in me. It's so beautiful. Everyone, everything is just beautiful.
When you were saying, something happened to it, where did it go? I think that's the power of these worksheets. Because your ego's job is to swallow any freedom you should experience here. And these worksheets continue to wake you up, because it's like you're filling them in with the unenlightened mind out of an enlightened mind, looking for what's left. What's there? Okay, so that enlightened mind is it's not just being maintained, it just becomes, when you think life can't get any better, it has to. That's the law. When you, for an open mind, and these worksheets give us that. They continue to allow us to expand into this, the gift of life, as opposed to the downside to life, which is, that's duality again. There is no downside to this life. There's what we're thinking and believing, and that belongs on paper. It's a gift that you can give yourself, and we don't have to. It's an exercise of hygiene, mental hygiene. It's just a duh. Okay. Having said that. So Roxanne, any thoughts? Nope. My head's over here. Is it true? Yeah, she says, nope, I get it. Okay, and thank you. If it changes, we can let us know. Okay, think of someone you love and put the name of that person on the list, someone you live with, or talk to daily, or most days. You know, someone in your life, maybe a boss or employees. Just write that person's name there. And then list under that judgmental thoughts about that person that isn't uncommon to you. You know, you could think of like, you could think of Gandhi and make a list of negatives, like, God, you know, he wears a diaper, what's up with that? So, someone you live with, or have lived with, and list your negative thoughts. Even though you don't believe them anymore, be sure and write them down. Okay, how many of you have less than 4? Okay, so get a couple of more so that you're able to do this exercise. And notice how your mind is saying, oh, I can't write that, I shouldn't write that. But if you've had the thought about it, it belongs on this list. Okay, so back to the banana. Okay. Here's the question I posed to you. Are you attacking anything? Are you attacking anything? And you know, those are attack thoughts. We're calling them negative thoughts. You know, are you attacking anything but the image in your head? In other words, remember the banana. Are you attacking anything other than that image of someone in your head? So that's if you don't appreciate who you're living with, this is why. This is, you created, there's that person, and then you've created identity onto that person, and that's who you live with. In many ways. That's who you wake up with, go to bed with. And I want to go back to that question when you were making your list. Were you attacking anything other than you look at who you know, if it's a family member, notice how you treat them when you believe this thing. And you're so right. You think you're so right, and it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Notice how you treat that person when you believe the thought. And when your ego's attacking that image, are you attacking anything?
Aren't you kind of attacking yourself because to hold them as an identity it actually
It's self-attack, meaning you're in the ego's world, and
for them to have an identity, it means you have to have yours first in order for them to have theirs.
so look to that.
So it's sort of like, when I was thinking about it,
It's like I am who I believe you to be in the moment I believe it.
and then doesn't that keep you self-identified inadvertently?
I am who that, I am that, like I'm the I know who you are, mind,
Right.
identity, yes.
So it's sort of like drinking the poison, hoping that they're going to get hurt.
Yeah, it's self-poisoning. It's the ego's attempt to live.
So you lock yourself into your own identity by locking somebody else into theirs. It's like for my husband,
You're locked into that. You're locked into living with that man, your husband, as you believe him to be. You're in the trance. You're living with, your husband's, your trance. Yeah, and living with Stephen, I don't care if it's a trance or not, I'm good with it. Yeah, I'm more than good with it. So I can honestly say I love him. If that's love here on this planet, then love is the absence you know, these are, you know, look at this list. That's not someone you want to live with. Yeah, but you're believing that onto them. That's why some people divorce. You think, oh, what have I done? It's such a big mistake. And, you know. Because his next wife seems, she doesn't seem to mind that terrible man. In fact, they're really having a good life. Okay, so find a partner, use your little yellow card. The work is an exercise in stillness. Facilitate your partner on their first judgment, and then all the way through 4 questions, turnarounds. And then your partner will facilitate you with a little yellow card on the first item on your list, or the one question. Okay, so alternate, and you can notice how similar your lists are. Okay, and okay, while we're waiting for this handout, imagine you're looking into a mirror. Just the way you do at home, you're looking into a mirror. Let's say it's a full-length mirror. So you're people are still coming in. So I call this basically, have you ever seen your face? Have you ever seen your own face? Yeah. So imagine yourself looking into a full-length mirror just the way you have countless times before. Now, as you imagine that, you might even close your eyes if it helps. Is that you? You just think, oh, I'm in a hurry, I brush my teeth, I comb my hair, I'm on my way, it's good. Okay, no, just be there now. Imagine yourself looking in the mirror. Is that you? Now, notice some of the common judgments you have as you look in the mirror. I am, and make a list. This is about collecting the thoughts that happen, the judgments that happen as you look in the mirror. Does it feel like too old, not old enough, too fat, too thin, too flabby, too long hair? And as you list them, put them in phrase them one at a time, so they're straight to the point and written in a way that you can question them later. Take them to self-inquiry on the worksheet. So as you list the thoughts, list them in a way that is we're going to question them later.
Katie, is it just face or body too?
Is it just what?
Are we writing about just our face or our body as well?
Full length mirror.
Full length. Okay.
Mm. Yeah, and this, or just add to the list. Yeah. Oh, you thought you'd get away with most of it. God, look at that belly. Oh my God. Imagine all your clothes are off too, by the way. So we're listing our judgments. There's so much mental disease over appearance. And it's where eating disorders come from. It's a thinking disorder. It's, you're distorting what you see in the mirror. This is homework, so I'm speaking to it, how important this list is. And notice the cost financially. Now we're getting down to it. This face, it would be if they would just do something. Yeah, I'm right. Look in the mirror. As you stand up, holding your stomach, you will feel better. Honey, honey. Love's painful. You've heard me say love hurts. Like, oh my gosh, what can you do with it? Feel it. Okay, look at those judgments. Look at the judgments. How many of you need more time with them? Okay, it's something that you can continue. And then continue to make the list of the judgment. And then I love that you sit with these on one belief at a time, worksheets. It's so valuable. The agony and pain, it's some of you are already okay with what we see, but there could be one or two things that'll just blow you to smithereens and give you a life so freeing. react when you believe the thought, you know, this mindfully make the list. You know, you need a certain kind of clothes. And this one's more, you know, fits more, you know, to your what your. Okay, so that's homework. That's homework. Those of you that are Buddhists or not Buddhists and you've heard the word compassion, how compassionate are you when you stand with no clothes on in front of a mirror? Some of us with or without clothes on in front of the full-length mirror. So, you know what I love about the way I look? You know, it's like I hate the way I look. You know what I love about hating the way I look? Everyone else gets to look better. I'm a living service. Yeah, I'm here to serve, you know, in all sincerity. Oh, good, I'm old and you're young, you know? It doesn't even have to be said. I don't know what kind of fear it creates in you, but I hope you do as well with others. I'm sorry, I have the gift of experiencing. Okay, what did you discover in the judgments on that person that you the exercise you just did? What was the exercise you just did? Yeah, in this world.
Someone we live with.
The judgments on someone you live with. Okay. So what was that like for you? How many of you noticed you had not a lot of trouble with the list? Yeah, judgments. Now, when you look at when you're angry with your partner or one of your children, someone you live with, or they say or do something that hurts you and you're thinking they're disrespectful, they're unkind, they knew that would hurt me, they said that on purpose, they're uncaring, cold. You know, those thoughts when you're hurt. That's what you worked with together in the last exercise. What did you discover? What did you become aware of? Yes.
So I have a lot of self-loathing, and I feel like I saw a little bit of where that comes from, that I think I've held my truth back for so long, like my opinions of things, and I've been too afraid to express them, and that's turned into, self-loathing of, hopefully that's enough. I don't know if I need to describe it more, but I think that's one source.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Microphone.
I've been married for 33 years that I know. We got to work in our household for 20 of those years. I've never done a worksheet on my wife. Yeah, and what I found is this idea that this person who is so devoted to me and loves me so much, right? And I'm worried about this one little thing, like how,
stayed away from it for so long because I care. And then what hit me was Stephen.
What was the one little thing?
Okay, there was 3 little things. Yeah, the one that came up was she's too paranoid about her health, right? And what came up for me was Stephen's idea of devotion, and it hit me. I think I'm devoted.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, I found out that there's more devotion. Yeah, and it feels so good to do that thought. Yeah, to truly love her. Yeah.
Isn't naming what seems like a shortcoming sometimes when you're able to name it, like that word devotion, shifts everything.
Yeah, and I also discovered at the same time.
Because it's so.
Yeah.
It's not pretending. Yeah.
And I discovered at the same time, a lack of devotion to me in this. So, thank you.
Okay, so when you were making this list, I'm going to ask this question again. How do we, I'll just say it like this, how do we fall out of love with the person that we've loved so deeply? Look at your list. And we really believe the list. And if we don't have self-inquiry and the ability to question and turn it around and look to ourselves, we miss what you're discovering here. We lose sometimes the love of our life, and they don't want to come back, and it's understandable. We wake up, we want them back, and my life, I discovered in the absence of you, my life is better. So we can say one thing, we have set them free of us, that's a gift. But we can do better. We can do better. So when you make this list, you have that partner, or that person in your life, in your mind's eye as you made the list of the offense, okay, the judgments. That's how you fall out of love. You believe it, and I used to love them, now I don't. They said This list is powerful, good to be near it occasionally. And the same for the people in your life, your children, your neighbors. Something else I want to say about that. When you were making this list of complaints, what you're thinking and believing when you're thinking and believing the stuff on your list that you have been thinking and believing, are you really judging that human being or the human being in your mind's eye? Have you ever really met that human being? When you look at the list, and that list, would you want to meet them? Because when you meet someone, you fall in love, they're pretty flawless. Nothing, you don't see it, but you love them beyond it. Okay. Did you make the perfect God list? No. Okay, so the perfect God, I want you to meet that perfect God. Look at your list again. Oh, yeah. No, that takes, I missed a step there, that's not going to work. Weird day. Okay, the point of our time together is what keeps you from living a fearless life. And okay, even when you wake up in the hospital terrified that you have a colostomy bag, that that's how it ended up, so fearful. What do you feel about fear about physical disease? Loss of income. What do you fear about loss of income? Patri, is this one of the lists I asked you to print? Would you hand those?
Down in the hole I have.
What, honey?
I have down in the hole. I don't have the list you're on, Katie.
Okay, down in the list. Okay, I mean, down in the hole is the list. Physical. Would you hand it out, please? Okay, I think it's done. My mind has stopped. So hand out down in the hole and follow the simple directions. And as far as I'm concerned, any more questions? Yes?
Hi, I have a question about, we did an exercise the other day, I think it was the offender and the offense, where our mind sat on whatever object and saw the negative. And I understand that, my question is, why is the ego so mean?
Well,
why does it want to separate us from the people that we love?
It's an attempt to identify as I.
But why does it have to be mean? Can it identify as I in a nice way?
Because by nature, meanness is not a possibility. It cannot exist. And I hope you come out of here with that. Someone says, Byron, Katie, I hate you. And it's like, oh my, if I believed about me what they believed about me, I'd hate me too. So are they guilty or innocent? They're innocent. So where's my compassion?
So the ego is pure love, that's what you said, so it's not mean.
Once understood.
Once understood.
Yeah, but ego is a state of mind, not body.
Because it feels like an error.
Bodies don't think, don't feel, don't act, don't have. They're not the thinker. We think it's the brain. So stop that. I'm going to say a word, banana. Did you see it? Yes. Okay, I'm going to say another word. Okay. We're done here. Thank you, Angels. I feel like I should invite you back here tuition free. I don't feel like I just feel like I should. But, I love the idea that you got what you came for, and that you know how to continue on the other side of our gather, and that's the important thing. Now, we have, you may have noticed outside that if you want to stay hooked up and working together, you know, it's ongoing for us. And we have Nobody WhatsApp group out in the courtyard. We have a QR code for that, and on the message board outside. And we're also going to send you the link for that in our email, and whatever it takes to support you. We'll have staff there too. We also have that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing, and oh. You know what I love about our time together, everything.